All right, everybody. This is a supplemental episode to Diamonds and Duds. I'm Ivan.
I'm Charles Baker.
We're trying something new. What this is going to be is a top 12 list because we like to be different.
Yep, and we're gonna build this list as the episode is going. So bear with us. This is our first time doing it.
And if you have any ideas for how we can streamline this or any ideas to make it better, absolutely let us know. We're on YouTube, Blue Sky, X, all the things, all the stuffs.
All the stuff.
What this is going to be is we're going to build we're each going to bring in 6 movies that have since we've done a couple Adam Sandler movies with our last couple podcasts, and which made us think of SNL has had a great history of their actors on there doing amazing movies separate from SNL. So we're each going to bring in 6 movies. There's going to be no duplicates. And the way we were talking about it, too, is that there's also not going to be any duplicate actor-wise. And that, let's say, because obviously we're not idiots, there's going to be a Bill Murray movie on here, probably.
Most likely.
Yeah. And that this isn't going to be 12 Bill Murray movies.
Yes.
You know, there's going to be, theoretically, there'll be one movie with Bill Murray. Bill Murray might happen to be in another movie, but there'll be other SNL people in it, too.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is go back and forth. I'll do one. Charles will do one. We'll figure out here in a second who goes first.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And just know, and these aren't tied to sci-fi. I think there's a possibility that we might get a sci-fi tinge one on here.
Yeah,
there's one on here that I think we'd be fired if we didn't put on.
Yes.
That's. You can argue that it's in that general realm of sci-fi.
Yeah, and I think what let's also do too is after we pick we'll do some honorable mentions afterwards.
Yeah.
To any of because both of us have probably between 10 and 12, 13, whatever it is listed on here. And whatever we don't end up picking, we'll go through at the end. And in the comments, let us know your favorite one of these or any. It's quite probable there'll be one we glaringly miss because we're stupid.
Oh, yeah, totally. And also, one thing, just also keep in mind, we both made a decision not to factor in SNL actors who were there for a cup of coffee. Specifically, they were there, maybe they were there for 1 year, half a year, a handful of episodes, and were unremarkable. So, do not expect to find Oppenheimer or Infinity War because we didn't factor in. Yes, Robert Downey Jr. was an SNL cast member, but it was legendarily that worst year, and it was
that legend that worst year that was the worst year, but somehow had some of the most amazing people on it.
Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, so do that and so keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
And there also might be one of these that's your favorite SNL movie, but Charles picks a different Bill Murray movie. And so, that's also going to be the way these go. And I think as I'm talking this through, I think this is going to be something rather fun for us. And so it's going to be something, we're not going to do these all the time, but these will come up. And if you have ideas for them, absolutely let us know.
Yep. All right, so the way we're going to figure it out is I'm just going to put a number behind his back. It's either going to be 1 or 2. I'm going to try to guess it. And, you can obviously figure out the rules past that. All right.
All right, go.
I'm going to guess 2.
Yep, you're right.
All right.
Charles will go first.
So I first want the first movie that I'm going to do that is on my list is going to be Walk Hard, a Dewey Cox story.
Okay, so Will Ferrell. Is that for Will Ferrell?
No. Will Ferrell. That is Tim Meadows.
Ooh.
That is the one, that is John C. Reilly.
Oh,
that's right. Tim Meadows has a supporting role, and I'm not overall a Tim Meadows fan, but his character, he's throughout the movie, he's just he's the one, he's a band member, and he's because it's a skewering of the biopics, of the rockers.
Absolutely.
And it's then it's Dewey throughout the movie, Dewey Cox will walk in, and Tim Meadows' character is just starts doing drugs like progressively like heroin and stuff like that. And he's like, "You don't want a part of this."
It's non-habit forming.
Yeah, and that's the best one. Is the pot one at the
Yes.
end. When like it's like
I think I kind of want it.
yeah, you don't want this. It's non-habit forming. And so like I'm not generally a big Tim Meadows fan. He's done some stuff I like, but his role in this, even though he's not the main star, that's really, really good. So I had to make sure to get Walk Hard. It's not my number one, but I love Walk Hard.
No, that is an amazing one. Now, what I'm gonna do is for mine, I'm gonna do a Bill Murray movie.
Okay.
And I'm gonna put Stripes.
Oh, that's a good one. Stripes.
And the reason, because this has a lot of people that are in a bunch of those movies around that time. But this is Bill Murray, what do you call it? I forget the guy's name. Egon from Ghostbusters. Harold Ramis. And John Candy's in this, and a bunch John Larroquette. It's about joining the army and a bunch of stuff like that. It's hilarious, and yeah, that's one of my favorite Bill Murray movies.
Okay. All right, so coming up in the 3 spot. Again, we'll come up with the order.
We'll come up with the order later.
My next one, I want to get this one in here before we get any of his other movies on here. This is our first non-comedy, Uncut Gems by Adam Sandler. So basically, this one came out a few years ago. Actually, I saw it with my wife at the drive-in. This is by A24, so it was independent, and so it was made post his deal with Netflix. But his deal allows him to occasionally go outside of Netflix, and this one was. He plays basically he's a hustler. Kevin Garnett has a decent role in the movie, but it is. He's a degenerate gambler. Adam Sandler's character is, and it's a very un-Adam Sandler performance. I mean, he had done drama before, Punch Drunk Love, which was kind of like a dramatic version of like his shtick, which was good. And then he had done not everybody likes, but I like the one. Oh God, the one where with Don Cheadle, and he's like, his wife had died in like I think the September 11th attacks. That one, Rain Over Me. But this one was very much like this is just Adam's a completely different person.
No, and what I will always, and you and I have had these conversations separately. There's a couple things that I will always appreciate about Adam Sandler. One, I will never criticize him for putting his friends in his movies, because part of that is that he wants to make sure his friends are employed, and in the end, they're not curing cancer. He gets to have fun with his friends on a movie set for 9 months.
Yeah.
But also, the other thing I will never rip an actor for is taking chances.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And he's, from what I understand, Sandler's always like, what do you call it, taking care of his money, and he's never going to have a problem.
No.
But like what stuff like the Netflix deal does, it lets him do movies like Spaceman is part of the Netflix deal, but it lets him do stuff like Uncut Gems and Spaceman and movies like that.
Yep. So what's your next one?
My next one is going to be one I don't know if you've seen. It's going to be a Pete Davidson movie.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've seen it.
The King of Staten Island.
Oh, I've never seen the trailers for that one.
This is one of those ones, and it's obviously it's him and it's Bill Burr, and it's one of those ones that obviously I really like Pete Davidson on SNL, and when he was on SNL, but this also is one that showed he could act a bit. And so that is one. It's probably, bluntly, it's probably going to end up probably towards the bottom of the 12. Wouldn't surprise me. But this is one that I wanted to have on there for sure.
Nice, very good. All right, so for my next one, I'm going to go one that's not going to be a surprise, and I'm going to go with John Belushi a John Belushi classic, and that's Animal House. Yeah. You cannot have a list without of this guy without having Animal House. It is an absolute classic. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Come on, guys, this is my job. It was made for $1. It doesn't show. It's just it was what blew up John Belushi. He's a supporting character in the movie. He's just every second that he's in it is a quotable classic line. Donald Sutherland has a minor role in the movie because they weren't going to be able to get. This one time at the time he was a big star, and they were told they're not going to get the movie made without a big star. And Donald Sutherland just wanted them to be able to get the movie they wanted made, so he did it. And Donald Sutherland's fine. He's only in a couple of scenes, but he has a quotable line. This is my job. He plays a teacher. He plays a teacher. It's just a great movie.
No, this movie's absolutely amazing. And anybody who's listening to us who hasn't seen this, pause it and go. Yeah. I don't know where this is viewable, but it has to be viewable everywhere. This movie's like 75 years old. And
don't wait till it's over. Over. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Germans?
Forget it. He's rolling. What's the next one?
My next one is one that I haven't seen all the way through, and I'm fairly confident might be our only Oscar nominee. Other than Uncut Gems, is going to be our only other.
I don't think Uncut Gems are nominated for anything.
What I'm going to put on Bridesmaids. Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph. I've seen most of this, not because I didn't like it or anything. This movie's everything I've seen. This movie's absolutely amazing. It's raunchy in all the right ways. And I believe it got Kristen Wiig got a screenplay nomination, I believe,
and also it got an acting nomination. The non-SNL, she had a big career actress. Yes. She was on. I'm spacing on her name.
She was also in she was also in the singing movie.
Melissa McCarthy.
Yes.
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy. She got a Best Supporting Actress. Yeah, that was on my docket to go to, and that one's I watched it several times through. That
had to be on.
It's a powerhouse comedy.
It's yes, yeah.
It is just fantastic, and is a star-making turn from Melissa McCarthy.
Absolutely, and by Maya Rudolph and Kristen Wiig too.
Yeah. And another person that holds their own in it is someone who's had a really good career. I don't know her name, but the blonde friend. She was on Reno 911. And then she also since then she was the mother on the Goldbergs for the entire time. But she also holds her own with a slightly smaller role. But she is still she's a really great part of that cast because she had already done all those years of Reno 911, so she knew all kinds of comedy.
Yeah.
So my next one is I'm again going to not fully deviate from comedy, but let's go with an Eddie Murphy movie.
Okay.
I don't think we could have one without Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
And that's going to be Beverly Hills Cop.
That was on my.
Beverly Hills Cop. So Beverly Hills Cop is again a star-making turn for Eddie Murphy. I still need to see the fourth one that came out on Netflix. Actually, it's supposed to have really, really held up well. And so action comedy, which and it's a great one-line. What a lot of people don't know, and I know I mentioned this to Ivan, but some of you listening may not know, is that Beverly Hills Cop was written for Sylvester Stallone.
That's right.
Yeah, it was written as a Sylvester Stallone movie. He was supposed to star in it. Don't remember what happened, but he didn't, and they hired Eddie Murphy, and so they rewrote it, and so much of the comedy was added in. Comedy aspects of it, the one line was added in because Eddie Murphy was Eddie Murphy. He obviously, I'm not demeaning Sly, but obviously he's a funnier actor than
if it was Stallone, it would have had a completely different. It would have been in the Cobra and all those,
and it would not have been as good. No. Beverly Hills Cop is just a fantastic. It just really showcases why Eddie Murphy was one of the greatest SNL actors ever.
Nice. Now, For number 8, and again, we'll pick an order here, is one that we're going to get ripped if we don't have this on here, and we haven't used this actor yet,
Yep.
is Dan Aykroyd, is that we have to have Ghostbusters.
Oh, yeah.
Is that we watched this so much as a kid, and yes, Bill Murray was in it too. I think of this as and I might be wrong, but I think of this as Dan Aykroyd's kind of the helm a lot of, lore wise in this, and a lot like it's kind of his baby.
It is, especially considering through the years the torch that he's held for the franchise. We know that for fun, he's probably written a dozen scripts. I mean, wrote a dozen scripts over the years for Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah, because I'm sure a lot of people know that, because originally it wasn't going to be Bill Murray; it was going to be John Belushi.
Yep,
kind of thing.
Bill Murray filled in at the last moment. And yeah, so I would definitely. I mean, Bill Murray has great lines. That's not saying away anything about, but this franchise has always been Dan Aykroyd's baby.
Yeah,
and I am happy that I haven't seen the Frozen Afterlife one, but I am happy that they did get their chance to kind of come back in some supporting roles, especially Winston, because he kind of got screwed in the movies.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we got 9, 10, 11, 12. We got 4 more on here. So, another one that I just grew up with this one, and I don't mean grew up as a kid. This came out when I was a teenager, and one of the saddest things is just not being able to really see what Chris Farley could have done had he not, had the drug addiction. And yeah, we're putting Tommy Boy on here.
Yeah,
because Tommy Boy, Chris Farley, David Spade. It is just Chris Farley didn't have a long movie career because of passing away. Some people may not know he was supposed to be Shrek. He had recorded about 90% of his lines when he passed away, and then Mike Myers stepped in and went with the Scottish tone. But Tommy Boy, if he has an accent, those two made a great comedy team, and just really, he was so good, especially before the drugs really kind of took hold. He was so good at physical comedy. I mean, like John Belushi was a big man, but he was so good at the physical. Like Chris Farley, who never seen, like one of those big things that sticks, and he did it in Tommy Boy, is despite being that size, he could do perfect cartwheels. He was.
He was a very despite his size, he was a very physical comic.
Yeah, he was very agile. I believe he had been a sports player, I believe, in college. I mean, not like I don't remember if it was football or rugby, but yeah. So yeah, Tommy Boy.
Okay, this next one, bluntly, I have not seen, but it was one of the ones I thought we kind of had to have on here, and this is the one we were kind of talking about briefly. I needed to check to make sure this person's in it, because they're more, they're more credited with writing it and creating it than they are being in it.
Okay.
And that is Tina Fey for Mean Girls.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
And apparently she's a teacher or something
Yes.
in it. But
and I think she was in the sequel. They did a sequel recently like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This was one I felt, if we're doing SNL stuff, we had to have Tina Fey represented, but also you have to have. There's a couple actors that I felt. There was one actor we'll talk about in the afterwards that I couldn't find something to do. But
so we're now down to our last 2 spots. So this is the last one I'm choosing. Honestly, most of mine are on this board already.
That's why
there's a couple.
I'm getting down to the nitty gritty. So.
Yeah, there's basically 3 that I could choose from. However, there's one that I'll mention, and I'll mention the ones I have still left in the honorable mentions. One, I just can't bring myself with only 1 spot left to pin something on this actor. But I'm going to go with a classic that we both loved growing up. It's Party Time. Wayne's World.
Oh, nice.
Wayne's World. Party Time, excellent. Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. In general, I'm not the biggest Mike Myers fan. I wasn't a fan of any of the Austin Powers movies. I don't like any Shrek past Shrek 1. But you know what? I love Wayne's World. I love Wayne's World. It's just funny. It's silly. I love the multiple endings intentionally. Dana Carvey, who I think is one of the top 3 SNL, top 5 SNL performers probably ever. But yeah, Wayne's World is just, and it's one of the few that the second one really holds up too.
It does.
It's rare with comedies, but the second one holds up.
And I'm sure if it were to come out today, people would social media would rip it apart for this, that, or the other. But I just enjoyed more.
Yeah.
Now, I only have 2 left I can pick.
Okay.
And we haven't done Will Ferrell yet, right?
We have not. I had one that came down. There was a battle between Wayne's World. Just outdid it.
And so we'll do Step Brothers.
Step Brothers. Oh, that's a good one.
For me, it was coming for the Will Ferrell movie was coming down between Step Brothers and Talladega Nights. Talladega Nights was one initially that I couldn't tell you why, but I didn't like it initially, and I was wrong. Talladega Nights is hilarious.
Talladega Nights is great. And just in terms of discussing transition to honorable mentions, Talladega Nights is one of my honorable mentions. Don't you put that voodoo on me, Ricky Bobby. Step Brothers is it's a fantastic movie. Talladega Nights was one of my honorable mentions. Who do you have?
My honorable mentions, and my first honorable mention was only an honorable mention because I was struggling to find other actors with movies in case I ran out.
Yeah,
and that was Joe Dirt by David Spade.
Okay.
And not that
I have a soft spot in my heart for that movie.
I have a soft spot for that movie. Bluntly, it doesn't belong on this list.
It does not.
I was having trouble finding extra movies in case I ran out.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. The one that I was thinking about putting on here, though, was that I was going to use Jane Curtin for this because the other actor was in Ghostbusters, and that's Coneheads.
Coneheads. It's been a long time. But you know who was also? I mean, Chris Farley was in it too. But
that's right.
Couldn't have used it.
There's 2 actors I wanted to find something, but I couldn't. But they're more TV people, and I couldn't find a movie they were actually in, and that was Bill Hader. Because Bill Hader's so good in his TV stuff, and also Amy Poehler. I couldn't find a movie for Amy Poehler.
Most of her stuff is to The Great Parks and Rec. There was one movie with her and Tina Fey. I forget. It was kind of cool. Maybe Mama, I think maybe one of the name. But it's Amy Poehler didn't quite make a couple ones that I had. One got taken out just by virtue of the rules. I want to mention for honorable mention because I did not have strikes. I had a different Bill Murray movie.
Okay,
that would be Groundhog Day.
Oh, that's
so that Groundhog Day. I mentioned Talladega Nights, and then the other one. This one was eligible for me to mention quite frankly, there's 2, both Chevy Chase and Bill Murray are in this movie. It's a great comedy, one of my favorite ones, but I'm not the biggest Chevy Chase fan, and so that's why Caddyshack did not, in the end, make my list. Plus, I mean, because of the fact that you said you got to hang your hat on an actor from it, Chevy Chase is the worst part of that movie.
Oh yeah, dude. Chevy Chase is just sort of,
yeah. And whereas Bill Murray's great. It's a star-making turn by Rodney Dangerfield. Ted Knight's good, but So that's
actually, the other one I'll mention too, since you had put on Uncut Gems, my Sandler movie was Big Daddy.
Oh, Big Daddy! All right, that might be the last Adam Sandler comedy that I liked. That's a lot. Most of his comedy, I don't think I've liked the comedies. I love Big Daddy. Yeah. I love Big Daddy, but I don't know if I've liked a comedy since it. I've loved a lot of his dramas, and there's been a number of comedies that I'm neutral for with it. Like the first, Grown Ups. I don't like it, but I don't dislike it.
It was one. Grown Ups. By the time it was one of the, a lot of times. What I think with movies is it's all about your mindset going in, and for me, by the time I saw, Grown Ups. I wasn't good. I'm like, oh, this movie will probably suck. Yeah. But I'm like, oh, this is really funny. It was funny. You could tell that the 4 or 5 SNL people in there legitimately were just having fun with each other.
It got brought down for me, and we won't go into a tirade. But Again, it was mentioned on another podcast. I hate Kevin James, and so anything with Kevin James gets dropped down a few notches for me. But I agree, they were having fun, and that's why it's like I don't dislike it. It's kind of neutral. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of try to put these in a bit of an order, kind of 1 to 12, right?
Yeah, we're going to put these in an order 1 to 12. As you're going in, tell us what you think of these. Your what you'd put at 1, what you'd put at 12. What would you put at 1, and what do you think we were morons for even putting on here?
Yeah. So I'm thinking, honestly, in the interest of being fair, maybe we start with number 12, the one that neither one of us has actually seen.
Yeah.
And we put Mean Girls. Maybe it should be higher, but neither of us has actually seen it, and both of us feel that it should be on here.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the quality, because I love Tina Fey. Tina Fey's hilarious. It's just, I haven't seen it, but I think so much from what I've heard about it, is that we had to have something with Tina Fey on.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So what are we thinking for number 11?
Looking at all of these and the fact that you haven't seen this, and I like the movie, but I wouldn't put it on the same level as these others. I'd probably put King of Staten Island.
King of Staten Island.
I'm okay having that at all.
Yeah.
I totally recommend you and your wife watching it. It's extremely funny, and Bill Burr has a really good turn in a kind of half dramatic role too.
Yeah. My thought for number 10, and you can kind of tell me if you disagree, is it's a great movie. The SNL connection is not remotely one of the main stars on it. And also, just in terms of comedy, it's a good comedy, but it doesn't hold up against some of these other comedies. I'd probably put Walk Hard number 10.
I'm fine with having Walk Hard 10. And then, I like the movie, but I'm not a huge fan of the actor. What about Wayne's World at 9?
Yeah, Wayne's World at 9. I think that's where it should be.
Yeah.
I don't think it should. I really don't think it has any business being in the top, because we got some heavy hitters.
Yeah.
We got some really heavy hitters up here. And so I think 9 is kind of right where Wayne's World should be.
Yeah.
Here. This is not gonna lie. This is already getting tough. Number 8. I'm actually. What do we think about number 8?
Well, I'm going to step in here real quick, because right now we have 12 through 9.
Yes.
What if now we think of the, say, 3 movies we think are the top 3?
Okay.
And then work our way that way. If you were to say your top 3?
Let's see. Top 3. I would say Animal House is in there.
Okay.
I would say Bridesmaids is in there.
Okay.
And then it's a toss-up between Ghostbusters and Beverly Hills Cop.
Okay.
So
we'll say 4. That's your 4.
What about you?
For me, it would be Animal House for sure. It would be Bridesmaids for sure.
Yeah.
And again, people say I haven't seen the whole thing. I've seen 90% of this.
Yeah.
And it belongs in the top 3. Yeah. I'd probably put Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And I'd probably put Stripes.
Okay. So we can definitely say we know what
we know what the top 2.
We're going to talk, because we had 3 of those. So our top 2 probably is definitely Animal House and Bridesmaids, right?
Yeah. So let's those will be our top 2. We'll figure out what's 1 and 2. Well, we know what our 1 and 2 are. Okay.
And then we both had Ghostbusters mentioned.
Okay.
In the 4 we mentioned. We both mentioned.
We want that 3?
Yeah. So put Ghostbusters as 3.
Okay.
And then, honestly, I'm good with Stripes being above Beverly Hills Cop.
Okay. And so we want to have Stripes 4. Beverly Hills Cop 5.
Yeah, I think we can go that. Beverly Hills Cop's really good.
Okay.
Yeah. So then now we just need 6, 7, and 8 between Tommy Boy, Step Brothers, and Uncut Gems. I'd say we put Uncut Gems at 8.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah, I haven't seen it. Obviously, it was a tour de force kind of thing. And so, what are our other 2? We have Tommy Boy
and Step Brothers.
I love me some Chris Farley. I find myself quoting Step Brothers all the time.
Yeah.
So that would be 6.
I'm burying you.
That'd be 6, right?
Yeah.
6,
I don't want you to bury me.
7, and so now we're down to our 1, 2, right?
1, 2. Animal House or Bridesmaid. To me, you can't go wrong either one.
No. Is it Animal?
I think Animal House is the answer.
Well, I don't want to oversell it. How many of these other movies wouldn't exist if Animal House didn't exist?
Bridesmaids certainly would.
Bridesmaids wouldn't have. Again, arguably, Stripes and Ghostbusters may not have gotten a chance without this.
Yeah.
And so I'd probably say that's a good one for us. And Bridesmaids too.
Yeah, and literally, like, every single Belushi moment is a quotable moment.
Yes.
It's a moment that's been quotable. Like, there's a moment in the film where, like, there's a toga party's winding down, and somebody's singing, playing, like, what was it, like a fiddle or something.
He's playing like a little, he's playing an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, he's playing an acoustic guitar, playing something, and John Belushi says nothing. He just walks up, grabs the guitar, and proceeds to smash it into a wall into million pieces of smithereens. Goes back, hands it to him, and he just looks at him. He's like, "Sorry." One word of one of the greatest moments ever. Along with it.
So going through our list, we have 1 Animal House.
Yep.
2 Bridesmaids, 3 Ghostbusters, 4 Stripes, 5
is going to be Beverly Hills Cop.
5 Beverly Hills Cop, 6 we have Step Brothers, 7 we have Tommy Boy, 8 we have Uncut Gems, 9 we have Wayne's World, 10 we have Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. 11, we have The King of Staten Island. And 12, we have Mean Girls, Tina Fey.
I think that's a pretty good list.
I think that's a good list. Tell us where we messed up, or I'm sure, thinking it through, we forgot Chris Rock.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's, tell us what actors I'm sure there's more than a couple actors we missed. Probably, I don't know if he's had many. We also missed the longest running SNL cast member.
Keenan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keenan. I don't think he has a whole lot of movies.
But
he would definitely be high on my list of just their entire careers.
Yeah,
he would be on my list.
And this might be something we expand for other stuff later. And Willow agrees. But yeah, cool. Tell us what you think about this top 12. And follow us on all the socially stuff. And our next movie is going to be Circle.
Yep. So don't be square.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.